This diagram summarizes the discussion so far. The rightmost column shows Yogacara Buddhism components with corresponding string theory conjectures. They are not in the three-dimensional space, but in extra dimensions and superspaces. Our brains, which are illusion in three-dimensional space, are manifestations of these components. Neuroscientists are not aware of the hidden reality, especially eighth consciousness or M theory, which do not show up in three-dimensional space. However, eighth consciousness is said to be phenomenally attached to the heart organ during conception of a baby. This is why in developmental biology, the heart organ appears before the brain. There are also studies show our heart organs are in constant communication with our brains through magnetic fields. The above processes show string theory is describing Yogacara Buddhism, especially the law of 12-factor dependent origination, as in the diagram at top left corner. All that exists for us are within this box. Matter such as an apple, and our brains do not exist, as they are just images in our image functions, as though they are matter. String theorists think open strings on the brains, both in extra dimensions and superspaces, are matter themselves, but they only represent matter, but not matter which is three-dimensional. Yogacara Buddhism is also called mind only, as all are in the mind where brains are mind spaces. It was said earlier that seventh consciousness is part of fruit of same order. The seeds in there are also called direct causes. It is the only place through which our body movements are initiated and controlled. The corresponding component is type 2b. In string theory, type 2b is chiral, which has left and right-handedness. This is how it can control left and right hands, left and right brains, and left and right sides of our bodies. Type 2a, on the other hand, is not chiral, as type 2a is fruit of functions in the neocortex, where our proper consciousness take place. It can control our bodies through intention. This is shown in the green arrow, but it has to do this via type 2b, which are the reptilian complex attached to the limbic system. This is in string theory is called T-duality, where brains are transformed. This brings us to the brain world. Physicist and cosmologist Bernard Carr said our consciousness is in brain, and higher dimensions have to do with consciousness. There are many types of brains in string theory. As mentioned, all our conscious experiences require some kind of processing space. In Yogacara Buddhism, each of the 8 consciousness has a set of visual function and image function. There are a total 8 extra dimensions in string theory, where each has corresponding brains. In the diagram, our brains contain all experiences we know through neuroscience. These 3 brains each have a corresponding Yogacara Buddhism component and string theory conjecture. All of them have brains, which means they each have computing spaces. However, the scope of Yogacara Buddhism is much wider, as we shall see later. Co-creation is a very critical part of idealism, which are superior fruit, and fruit ripen divergently. They are responsible for current and future co-creation respectively. This is why the corresponding string theory conjectures, which are E8 times, E8 heterotic, and SO32 heterotic, have no D-branes. We will skip fruit of nirvana and type 1 for now. Let's take a look at type 2b and type 2a. These strings have associated odd number D-branes and even number D-branes respectively. They are fruit of same order and fruit of functions respectively, and between the two there are dependencies. These dependencies show up when type 2b is translated to type 2a through odd number branes to even number branes and vice versa. For example, D9, brain in type 2b to D8, brain in type 2a, or vice versa. Let's go through some examples. The diagram is simplified, as in reality, everything has to go back to eighth consciousness, or M theory, as in example 2, before everything arises again as eighth consciousness, and M theory are similar to a computer. In example 1, you are sitting on a hard stool without noticing its hardness. This is fruit of same order, which is type 2b, and the computing spaces are odd number branes. You are asked how hard the stool was. You realize it is hard and a bit uncomfortable. This is fruit of functions, or in the neocortex, and the computing spaces are even number branes. Example 2, you are practicing a skill while further learning it. That means odd and even branes are active at the same time. This is why it is not easy to study the brain. However, there are sequences, as in these 3 examples, and those before. But what is hidden is further learning will perfume the seeds in eighth consciousness, or the strings in M theory. After many rounds, the seeds perfumed will manifest as deeper skill learnt. Example 3 shows a person wanted to kick a ball. This happens in neocortex, which is of even number branes, but is carried out by odd number branes. Our consciousness needs computing spaces to work where it can never happen in the brain, which has no computing spaces, and it is just an illusion.